The text message wasn't meant for me. Can't wait for tonight. Tyler's working late again. Wear what I bought you. I stared at my wife's phone, lying face up on our kitchen counter where she'd left it charging. The screen glowed in the dim morning light, and my coffee mug froze halfway to my lips. My name is Tyler Bennett. I'm 34 years old, a project manager at a construction firm in Phoenix, Arizona, and until that Tuesday morning in March, I thought I had a pretty good life. A beautiful wife of 6 years, Amanda. A comfortable 3-bedroom house in Scottsdale. No kids yet, but we'd been talking about it. Really talking about it, not just the someday kind of talk. The phone buzzed again. Sorry, meant to say I'll bring the wine. You just bring yourself, gorgeous. My hand started shaking. Coffee sloshed over the rim of my mug, splashing onto the granite countertop. I set it down carefully like I was defusing a bomb and picked up Amanda's phone. No passcode. She'd never needed one, she always said. We trusted each other completely. The sender was listed as Kristen Yoga. I knew Kristen. We'd had dinner with her and her husband twice. Amanda had started going to yoga classes 6 months ago, getting really into it. She'd lost 15 pounds, bought a whole new wardrobe, started doing her hair differently. I'd thought she was just taking better care of herself. Feeling good about her body. I'd encouraged it, for crying out loud. My thumb hovered over the message thread. Every instinct screamed at me to open it, to read everything, to know. But another part of me, the part that still wanted to believe this was some kind of misunderstanding, held back. The shower upstairs shut off. Amanda would be down in 10 minutes like clockwork. Hair wrapped in a towel, wearing that blue robe, smelling like vanilla and coconut. She'd kiss my cheek, pour herself coffee, and ask about my day ahead. I opened the thread. The messages went back 3 months. 3 months of planning secret meetings, of inside jokes, of things that made my stomach turn. But Kristen wasn't Kristen at all. The contact name was fake. I scrolled up to the beginning of the conversation where they'd first exchanged numbers and found it. Hey, it's Jason from the office. Great meeting you at the holiday party. Jason Reeves, Amanda's new boss. She'd started working as an office manager at a real estate development company last December, right after Thanksgiving. Her first real job since we'd gotten married. She'd wanted to contribute more, she'd said. Feel independent. I'd supported that too, proud of her for wanting to grow. The holiday party. I'd been in Denver that week, overseeing a commercial project that was running behind schedule. She'd gone alone, sent me pictures of herself in a black dress I'd helped her pick out. She'd looked stunning. I'd texted her that night. Wish I was there with you. You're the most beautiful woman in any room. She'd replied with a heart emoji. That was the night she'd met him. I kept scrolling, my heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. The messages were careful at first. Professional, then friendly, then flirty, then explicit enough that I had to stop reading, my vision blurring. They'd been sleeping together for 2 months. Meeting at his condo in Tempe, the one he'd mentioned was a company property, great investment opportunity, when Amanda had casually brought him up in conversation once. Every Tuesday and Thursday when I worked late. Some lunch hours. Once, horrifyingly, in our guest room while I was out of town for a weekend project in Flagstaff. In our house. In our home. I heard footsteps on the stairs. My hands moved on autopilot. I opened my own phone, pulled up the camera, and started photographing her screen. Every message. Every photo he'd sent her, and there were photos, though I couldn't look at them directly, just clicked and moved on. Every plan they'd made. 3 months of evidence, captured in 90 seconds of frantic screenshotting. I'd just set her phone back on the counter when Amanda walked into the kitchen. Morning, babe, she said, smiling that same smile I'd fallen in love with 8 years ago. She kissed my cheek, her skin still warm from the shower. You're up early. Couldn't sleep, I managed. My voice sounded normal. That surprised me. Everything okay? She poured her coffee, added cream and sugar. 2 sugars, exactly. I knew everything about her. Or I thought I did. Yeah, just thinking about the Chandler project. Inspections today. You'll do great. You always do. She squeezed my shoulder and I had to fight the urge to flinch away. What time will you be home? This was it. This was where I was supposed to say I'd be late. Where I'd give her the opening to spend another evening with Jason, in his bed, laughing about her stupid husband who never suspected a thing. Actually, I should be done by 5. Thought we could have dinner together. Maybe that Italian place you like? Something flickered across her face. Annoyance? Panic? It was gone too fast to tell. Oh, I actually have plans with Kristen tonight. Yoga and then drinks after. I mentioned it last week, remember? She hadn't mentioned it, but I nodded anyway. Right, yeah. Tomorrow then? Perfect. She kissed me again, on the lips this time, and I tasted betrayal. I love you. Love you too, I said automatically. She grabbed her phone, checked it, and I watched her face carefully. Nothing. She didn't even glance at the messages. Just slipped it into her purse and headed for the garage. Have a good day, she called out. The door closed. The garage door rumbled open, then shut. Her car pulled away. I sat down at the kitchen counter and stared at my phone, at the folder of screenshots that had just destroyed my marriage. I sat in my truck in the construction site parking lot in Chandler, staring at my phone. The screenshots felt radioactive in my photo library. 37 images that would detonate my marriage. My hands had finally stopped shaking, replaced by something colder. Something methodical. I opened my contacts and scrolled to Amanda's profile. 6 years of shared life compressed into a contact card. Her photo smiled at me, taken last summer at Lake Pleasant. I'd been the one holding the camera. My finger hovered over the screen. Then I kept scrolling. Derek Paulson. My buddy from college who'd gone into private investigation after washing out of the Phoenix PD. We'd grabbed beers maybe twice a year, talked about his cases, his messy divorce 3 years back. He'd told me once, half drunk at a sports bar in Tempe, that the worst part wasn't discovering his ex-wife's affair. It was not having proof solid enough to matter in court. Arizona's a no-fault state, he'd said, but documentation still matters. For property division, for your own sanity, for making sure you're not the one who gets screwed twice. I'd nodded along, thinking it would never apply to me. I called him. Tyler. Man, it's been a minute. Derek's voice had that easy warmth I remembered. What's up? I need to hire you. The words came out flat. Dead. Silence on the other end. Then his tone shifted, professional. When can you meet? Today, now. Give me an address. Derek's office occupied a strip mall in Mesa, wedged between a nail salon and a tax preparation service. The sign read, Paulson Investigations, in modest lettering. Nothing flashy. Nothing that screamed private detective. Inside, Derek looked the same. Buzz cut going gray, weathered face, shoulders that still suggested his football days at ASU. He shook my hand, gestured to a chair across from his desk, and closed the door. Show me, he said. I handed him my phone. Watched his face as he scrolled through the screenshots. His expression didn't change, but something in his eyes softened. Recognition. He'd been here before, on both sides of the desk. Jason Reeves, Derek said, reading. Real estate development, you know him? Her boss. She started working there in December. And these Tuesday, Thursday meetups, those match your work schedule? Yeah, I'm usually on site late those nights. Crew meetings, inspections. I paused. She knew my schedule. Derek nodded, still scrolling. This message here, Your guest room was perfect while he was in Flagstaff. When was that? Last month. I was up there for 4 days on the Pinewood project. In your house? Derek set the phone down. Tyler, I'm sorry. I know this. I don't need sorry. I need documentation. He studied me for a moment. Okay. What's your goal here? Divorce? Confrontation? Just knowing for sure? All of it. But I need more than text messages. I need proof that holds up. Dates, times, locations. Everything. Derek pulled out a legal pad. Walk me through her routine. Everything you know about her schedule, her habits, her patterns. I did. Amanda's morning yoga classes. Real ones, I assumed, since she'd actually lost weight and gained flexibility. Her work hours at the office in North Scottsdale. Her Tuesday and Thursday evenings, supposedly with Kristen for yoga and drinks. Her weekend errands, her phone habits, her friends. This Kristen, Derek said. Real person? I've never met her. Amanda talks about her sometimes. Yoga instructor, I think. We'll verify that. If Kristen exists and Amanda actually attends yoga, it gives her cover story legitimacy. Makes the affair harder to prove through routine surveillance alone. He tapped his pen against the pad. But we've got something better. We've got Jason's address. The Tempe condo. Right? Company property, you said? According to the messages, yeah. That's good for us. Means there's a paper trail. Company records, building security, maybe cameras in the parking garage or lobby. Derek made notes. Here's what I propose. Today's Tuesday. If the pattern holds, she's meeting him tonight, right? My stomach tightened. That's what she told me this morning. Yoga and drinks with Kristen. Perfect. I'll set up surveillance at the condo. Get photos of her arriving, entering the building, how long she stays. If we're lucky, we'll get shots of them together, entering or leaving. And if we're not lucky, we try again Thursday, and next Tuesday, and the Tuesday after that. However long it takes. He met my eyes. But Tyler, you need to prepare yourself. Surveillance means watching your wife walk into another man's building, seeing her leave hours later, having photographic proof of every detail. Some guys think they want that until they actually see it. I want it. Okay. Derek pulled out a contract, slid it across the desk. Standard surveillance package. I'll start tonight, continue as needed. I'll send you updates, nothing detailed while you're around Amanda, just confirmations that I'm on site. Full reports with photos will be delivered in person. I scanned the contract. The rates were reasonable, the terms clear. I signed. One more thing, Derek said. You need to act completely normal at home. No confrontations, no changes in behavior, no hints that you know anything. Can you do that? I thought about this morning. Amanda in her blue robe, smiling at me over coffee. My performance had been flawless. Yeah, I said. I can do that. I made it through the rest of the workday on autopilot, reviewed schedules with my site supervisor, checked inventory reports, returned emails. The Chandler project kept moving forward because construction didn't stop for personal catastrophe. At 5:30, I texted Amanda. Running late, probably home around 8. Order dinner if you want. Her response came quickly. No worries, I've got yoga anyway. Love you. 3 words that used to mean everything. Now they just felt like part of her script. I sat in my truck in the site parking lot, watching the sun drop toward the horizon. Somewhere across the valley, Derek was positioning himself near Jason's condo in Tempe. Somewhere in Scottsdale, Amanda was getting ready, showering, choosing an outfit, maybe the black yoga pants she'd bought last month that I'd complimented. My phone buzzed. Derek. In position. I started the truck and drove home. Took the long way, killing time. Stopped at a sandwich shop and forced myself to eat even though everything tasted like cardboard. Checked my phone obsessively, waiting for updates that wouldn't come until Derek had something concrete. At 7:45, another text. Subject arrived. Confirming photos. Subject. That's what Amanda was now. Not my wife. Not the woman I'd built a life with. Just a subject in a surveillance report. I pulled into our driveway at 8:10. The house sat dark, except for the porch light Amanda always left on. Her car was gone, still at yoga, still at Jason's condo, still living the lie. Inside, I moved through our home like a stranger. Everything looked the same. The granite countertops where her phone had sat this morning. The couch where we'd watched television last night, her feet in my lap. The bedroom where we'd slept side by side, her breathing soft and steady. How many times had she come home from Jason's condo and climbed into bed next to me? How many times had she showered away the evidence before kissing me goodnight? I couldn't stay in the bedroom. Grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed at 9:30. Subject departed. Full report tomorrow. So she'd stayed 2 hours. I did the math automatically. Enough time for dinner, for conversation, for whatever else they did in that Tempe condo while I worked late to support the life we'd built together. Amanda came home at 10:15. I heard the garage door, her car pulling in, her keys in the door. She walked into the kitchen glowing, cheeks flushed, hair still damp from a shower. Jason's shower. "Hey, babe," she kissed my cheek. "How was your day?" "Long. Yours?" "Great. Kristen pushed us hard in class tonight. I'm going to be so sore tomorrow." She opened the fridge, pulled out a water bottle. "Did you eat?" "Grabbed a sandwich." "Good." She smiled at me, that same warm, genuine smile that had convinced me for 3 months that everything was fine. "I'm exhausted. Mind if I head up?" "Go ahead. I'll be up in a bit." I watched her climb the stairs, her yoga mat bag over her shoulder. Prop for the performance. When I heard our bedroom door close, I pulled out my phone and stared at Derek's message. Full report tomorrow. Tomorrow I'd see the photos. Tomorrow the abstract knowledge would become concrete images. Tomorrow I'd have to look at documentation of my wife walking into another man's building, staying for hours, leaving with that same satisfied glow she'd just shown me. But tonight, I sat in our kitchen and finished my beer in the dark, listening to Amanda move around upstairs, getting ready for bed in our room after spending her evening in Jason's. The performance continued. For both of us. I spent the next 3 days buried in work, forcing myself to focus on the Chandler Project's foundation issues while my marriage rotted from the inside. Every conversation with Amanda felt like walking through a minefield blindfolded. She'd kiss me goodbye in the mornings, ask about my day over dinner, curl against me in bed while I lay there rigid, counting ceiling tiles until she fell asleep. Derek called Thursday afternoon while I was reviewing structural plans. "Got your report," he said. "Can you meet tonight?" "Yeah, where?" "Same place, 8 o'clock. I found him in the back booth again, a manila envelope on the table between us. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Tuesday and Thursday both confirmed," he said, sliding the envelope toward me. "She arrived at 6:47 on Tuesday, left at 9:12. Thursday was 6:52 to 9:05. Same pattern. Parks in visitor parking, uses the side entrance, takes the elevator to the 3rd floor." I opened the envelope. The first photo showed Amanda's car in the parking lot, license plate clearly visible. The second caught her walking toward the building entrance, gym bag over her shoulder, the same bag she'd carried when she left for yoga both nights. The third showed her exiting hours later, hair damp, wearing different clothes than she'd arrived in. "That's her post-shower look," Derek said quietly. "Fresh outfit, wet hair. She's got a whole routine down." The next photos showed Jason's condo building from various angles, timestamps in the corner. 6:58 p.m., 7:34 p.m., 8:47 p.m. The lights in Unit 312 visible in some shots, blinds drawn. I couldn't get interior shots without trespassing, Derek said. But the pattern's consistent. She's there for 2 to 2.5 hours twice a week. Always leaves looking freshly showered. I set the photos down. Anyone else coming or going? Just them. He usually arrives about 20 minutes before she does. Leaves about 15 minutes after. I'm guessing he's tidying up, making sure she gets to her car safely. Derek's mouth twisted. Real gentleman. Yeah. I gathered the photos back into the envelope. What do I owe you? My retainer covers this week. You want me to keep going? I thought about it. 2 weeks of surveillance, consistent pattern, photographic evidence, 3 months of text messages. I had enough to bury her in any divorce proceeding. No, I said. This is sufficient. You sure? Sometimes people want... I'm sure. Derek nodded slowly. Okay, my full written report's in there too. Dates, times, observations, everything documented. He paused. You doing all right? I'm fine. Tyler, I said I'm fine. He raised his hands. All right, you know where to find me if you need anything else. I drove home with the envelope on my passenger seat, evidence of my wife's betrayal reduced to 8 by 10 glossy prints and a 5-page report. The house was dark when I arrived. Amanda had texted earlier about drinks with coworkers after work. Probably another lie. Probably Jason. I went to my office and locked the door. Spread everything out on my desk. Derek's photos and report, my screenshots of the text messages, a timeline I'd been building. 2 months of active affair. 6 months of Amanda's transformation, the weight loss, the new wardrobe, the sudden interest in yoga. I'd been so supportive. So proud of her for taking time for herself, making new friends, building a life outside our marriage. I'd been a fool. My phone buzzed. Amanda. Running late. Be home by 10. Love you. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and started researching divorce attorneys. I needed someone experienced, someone who specialized in infidelity cases, someone who could move quickly. I found 3 possibilities in Scottsdale, sent inquiry emails to all of them, then sat back and stared at the evidence scattered across my desk. The guest room. That one still burned. While I'd been in Flagstaff dealing with foundation inspections, Amanda had brought Jason into our home, into the room where my parents stayed when they visited, where Amanda's sister had slept during Christmas. They'd used our sheets, our shower, our space. My phone rang. Unknown number. Tyler Bennett. Mr. Bennett, this is Nicole Brennan. I received your inquiry about representation. Do you have a few minutes to talk? I glanced at the clock. 9:47 p.m. Yes. I reviewed the brief details you provided. 6-year marriage, suspected infidelity, you're seeking dissolution. Is that accurate? It's not suspected anymore. I have evidence. What kind of evidence? Text messages, 3 months worth. Surveillance photos from this week. A private investigator's report documenting her movements. Silence for a moment. That's comprehensive. Have you confronted your wife? No. Good. Don't. Not yet. I heard papers rustling. Arizona is a no-fault divorce state, which means infidelity doesn't technically impact the dissolution itself. However, it can influence certain aspects, particularly if marital assets were used to facilitate the affair or if there's been financial misconduct. He's her boss. They use his condo. Even better, minimizes the asset complication. Do you own your home jointly? Yes, both our names on the mortgage. Other significant assets? 2 cars, both paid off. Retirement accounts, some savings. Nothing complicated. Children? No. That simplifies things considerably. More rustling. I can meet with you tomorrow afternoon if you're available. 2 o'clock? I'll be there. She gave me her office address and we ended the call. I sat there in the silence of my office, surrounded by evidence of Amanda's betrayal, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just a hollow emptiness where 6 years of marriage used to be. My phone buzzed again. Amanda. Home in 5. Want me to grab anything? Me. No thanks. I gathered all the evidence and locked it in my desk drawer. By the time Amanda's car pulled into the garage, I was on the couch watching SportsCenter like nothing had changed. She came in smiling, cheeks flushed, hair perfect. Hey babe, sorry I'm so late. Melissa wanted to try this new wine bar in Old Town, and you know how she gets. Melissa was real. I'd met her at company events, but I'd bet money Amanda hadn't seen her tonight. No problem, I said. How was it? Good. They had this amazing Pinot Noir. She dropped her purse and came over to kiss me. I could smell her perfume, different from this morning, reapplied recently. You eat dinner? Grabbed something earlier. I'm starving. Going to make a sandwich. She headed toward the kitchen, calling back, You want anything? I'm good. I listened to her moving around, opening the refrigerator, humming something under her breath. Happy, content, completely confident in her deception. My phone was in my hand before I realized I'd picked it up. I opened the screenshots folder, found one of the more explicit messages. Jason describing what he wanted to do to her. Amanda responding with enthusiasm. I closed it and set the phone down. Amanda returned with her sandwich and curled up next to me on the couch. What are you watching? Basketball highlights. She took a bite, chewed, swallowed. Oh, I meant to tell you, Kristen invited me to this yoga workshop thing on Saturday morning. It's like a 3-hour session. You mind? Kristen. The fake yoga instructor. The cover story that had held up for 2 months because I'd never thought to question it. Sure, I said. What time? 9 to noon. I'll probably grab lunch with her after. Sounds good. She smiled and kissed my cheek. You're the best. I know Saturdays are your catch-up day. It's fine. I've got plenty to do. We sat there watching highlights, Amanda eating her sandwich, me counting down the hours until my meeting with Nicole Brennan. 18 hours. Then I could start the process of ending this. Amanda finished eating and snuggled closer. I'm exhausted. Long day. I bet it was. Want to head to bed? She asked. In a bit. Want to finish this game? Okay. She kissed me again. Don't stay up too late. I won't. She disappeared upstairs. I heard the shower start. Her second of the day, I'd wager. Washing away evidence. Maintaining the illusion. I sat there in the flickering light of the television, my wife showering off her lover's touch 1 floor above me, and planned the systematic dismantling of our marriage. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, it would begin. The meeting with Nicole Brennan was scheduled for Thursday at 2 o'clock. I left the Chandler site early, telling my crew I had a dentist appointment. The lie came easier than it should have. Her office was in North Scottsdale, tucked into a professional complex off the 101. 3rd floor, corner suite. The waiting room had leather chairs and abstract art that probably cost more than my truck. A receptionist with silver hair and kind eyes offered me coffee. I declined. Nicole appeared exactly on time. Mid-40s, dark hair pulled back, navy suit that meant business. Her handshake was firm. Tyler, come on back. Her office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the McDowell Mountains. She gestured to a chair across from her desk and sat down, pulling out a yellow legal pad. I've reviewed the materials you sent, she said. Before we go further, I need to confirm you haven't confronted your wife about any of this? No. Good. That gives us options. She clicked her pen. Arizona is a no-fault divorce state, which means the affair itself won't impact the divorce decree. but it can influence certain decisions, particularly around asset division if marital funds were used to facilitate the relationship. I thought about Jason's condo. Company property, Amanda had texted. Probably no hotel receipts to find. What about the house? I asked. Purchased before or during the marriage? During, 3 years ago. Both our names on the deed, but I put down the down payment. $70,000. Money I'd saved before we got married. Nicole made notes. Do you have documentation of that? Bank statements, the wire transfer. Excellent. That could be argued as separate property, though the appreciation during the marriage would be community property. She looked up. Any other significant assets? My truck, her car, a Lexus I helped her buy last year, retirement accounts, some savings. I paused. She doesn't know about my grandfather's life insurance policy. $50,000. Came through last month. Whose name? Just mine. I haven't deposited it yet. Nicole's expression didn't change, but something shifted in her eyes. Don't. Not until after we file. That's separate property if it hasn't been commingled with marital funds. Keep it in a separate account when you do deposit it. We went through the rest. My salary, $92,000. Amanda's, $38,000, she'd told me, though I realized I'd never actually seen a pay stub. No kids, thank God. No joint debts beyond the mortgage and her car payment. Here's what I recommend, Nicole said. We file next week. Have her served at work. No. The word came out harder than I intended. Not at work. She studied me. Tyler, I understand the impulse to be considerate, but you need to think strategically. Serving her at work, particularly in front of her boss, sends a clear message that you know everything. It establishes control of the narrative. I thought about Amanda walking into that real estate office, all smiles and professional competence. Thought about Jason Reeves watching her get served with divorce papers, realizing the husband he'd been cuckolding wasn't quite as oblivious as they'd assumed. At work, I said. Nicole nodded. We'll arrange service for Monday. That gives you the weekend to prepare. I recommend you move some things out of the house. Anything with sentimental value, important documents, do it when she's not home. Tuesday and Thursday, I said. She has yoga. The bitter irony of using her lie for my own purposes wasn't lost on either of us. Perfect. This Tuesday, then. Do you have somewhere you can stay? I'll get a hotel. Good. Once she's served, things may escalate quickly. Be prepared for anything from begging to rage. Don't engage beyond what's absolutely necessary. All communication should go through me. She slid a card across the desk. My cell number. Call anytime. I pocketed the card. What are my chances? Of getting the house, I mean. With your documentation of the down payment and her affair, better than average. But Tyler, she leaned forward slightly. You need to understand that divorce isn't about punishment. It's about dissolution of a legal partnership. The goal is to get you separated from this marriage with your assets and dignity intact, not to destroy her. I know. But sitting there in that corner office, looking out at mountains that had stood for millennia while my 6-year marriage crumbled into dust, I wasn't sure I did know. Wasn't sure what I wanted beyond the simple, primal need to not be the fool anymore. Tuesday came with the same relentless sunshine Arizona always delivered. I'd told Amanda I had an evening site inspection in Casa Grande. Wouldn't be home until late. She'd kissed me goodbye that morning like she always did. Told me to drive safe. I waited until 1:30 when I knew she'd be at Jason's condo. Then I drove home. The house felt different in the afternoon light, like a stage set between performances, waiting for actors to return and pretend everything was real. I moved through it methodically, the way I approached any project. Assess, plan, execute. From the garage, my toolbox, the good one my dad had given me when I graduated college. From the bedroom, my grandfather's watch, still in its case in my nightstand. Photo albums from before Amanda, college, family trips, my parents' 40th anniversary party 2 years before Dad died. In the guest room, I stopped, stared at the bed where they'd been together while I was in Flagstaff, trusting my wife, missing her, thinking about how lucky I was. The sheets were different now. She'd changed them, probably washed away any evidence, any trace of what she'd done. I stripped the bed anyway, took the sheets, the pillowcases, the duvet cover, carried them out to the driveway and stuffed them in the trash can. Then I went back inside and took the mattress pad too. Let her explain that when she got home. But I didn't leave it at that. Couldn't. I went to the kitchen, found the notepad we used for grocery lists. Amanda's handwriting covered the top sheet. Milk, eggs, bread, chicken breast, yogurt. I flipped to a clean page and wrote, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Jason's condo. Our guest room while I was in Flagstaff. I know everything. I left it on the kitchen counter, propped against the coffee maker where she'd see it the moment she walked in. Then I loaded my truck with the boxes I'd packed, locked the door, and drove away from the house in Scottsdale for what I knew might be the last time as a married man. The hotel was a Marriott off Scottsdale Road, generic and clean and blessedly anonymous. I checked in under my name, carried my boxes up to a second-floor room that smelled like industrial. When I finally turned my phone back on at 11, there were 37 missed calls, 23 texts, 2 voicemails. I deleted them all without reading or listening. Then I called Nicole Brennan's cell. She answered on the second ring. Tyler. She knows I know, I said. I left a note. I couldn't. I stopped. Started again. I couldn't keep pretending. Silence on the other end. Then, okay, that changes the timeline, but not the fundamentals. Are you somewhere safe? Hotel. Good. Stay there. Don't respond to any communication from her. We'll move up the filing. I'll have the papers ready by Friday. Can you come by my office tomorrow at 10? Yes. Tyler. Her voice softened slightly. You did the right thing. Leaving that note, getting out of the house. This is the hardest part. It gets easier. I thanked her and hung up. The room was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioning. Through the wall, I could hear a television playing, voices and canned laughter from some sitcom where problems got solved in 30 minutes and everyone learned valuable lessons about communication. I lay down on the bed fully clothed and stared at the ceiling, thinking about nothing and everything until sleep finally came and granted me a few hours of mercy. The hotel room phone rang at 6:47 a.m. on Thursday. I stared at it from the bed, already dressed in yesterday's clothes. The digital display showed an internal call, front desk. I picked up. Mr. Bennett, I apologize for the early call. The night manager's voice was careful, professional. We have a woman in the lobby insisting she needs to speak with you. She's been here since approximately 5:30 this morning. We've asked her to leave multiple times, but she's refusing. She says she's your wife. My jaw tightened. Is she causing a disturbance? Not exactly, sir. She's sitting in the lobby, waiting. But other guests have complained about her approach. She's attempted to stop several male guests, asking if they're you. I closed my eyes. Of course, Amanda had figured out I was at a hotel. Scottsdale only had so many options within reasonable distance of our house. She'd probably called every front desk until one confirmed my reservation, or more likely, just started showing up at each one. I'll be down in 5 minutes, I said. Sir, if you'd prefer, we can contact the police to have her removed from the property. I considered it. The old Tyler, the one from 4 days ago, would have been horrified at the idea. Now I just felt tired. No, I'll handle it. I hung up and sat on the edge of the bed. My phone showed 43 new missed calls since yesterday afternoon. I'd stopped counting the texts. The voicemail notification had maxed out at 30 messages, I grabbed my wallet and room key, then took the elevator down to the lobby. Amanda was sitting in one of the leather chairs near the entrance, still wearing her work clothes from yesterday. Black slacks and a cream blouse. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She had her purse in her lap, hands clutching it like a life preserver. She saw me the moment I stepped out of the elevator. Her face transformed. Relief, hope, desperation all at once. She stood up so fast the chair rocked backward. "Tyler!" "Outside," I said, walking past her toward the front doors. She followed me into the parking lot. The morning air was cool, the sun just starting to burn off the night chill. I stopped next to a landscaped area with desert plants and rocks, far enough from the entrance that we wouldn't be overheard. Amanda stood 3 feet away, her eyes red-rimmed and swollen. She'd been crying. Probably all night. "You won't answer my calls," she said. "You won't read my texts. Tyler, please, I just need you to listen." "No. Please." Her voice cracked. "I know you're angry. I know I hurt you. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll quit my job. I'll do whatever you want, just please." "You had sex with him in our house." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "In our guest room," I continued, my voice flat. "While I was in Denver. You brought him into our home and screwed him in the bed where my parents sleep when they visit. It was one time." Tears were streaming down her face now. "Tyler, it was one mistake. One time. Everything else was at his place. I never—" "You think that makes it better?" No, I'm trying to explain." "Explain what? That you only disrespected our marriage in our actual house once? That the other dozen times you just went to his condo like a normal affair?" She was sobbing now, her whole body shaking. "I'm sorry. God, Tyler, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. It happened, and then it kept happening, and I didn't know how to stop." "You stopped by not going to his condo every Tuesday and Thursday," I said. "You stopped by not texting him. You stopped by telling him it's over. You stopped by telling your husband the truth. There were 1,000 ways to stop, Amanda. You just didn't want to." I was going to end it. She wiped at her face with shaking hands. "I swear to God I was planning to break it off. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was destroying everything. I just needed time to—" "You had 6 months." She stared at me. "What?" "6 months. That's how long you've been different. Since December. Since you met him at that holiday party. New clothes. New hair. The yoga membership you never actually used. I thought you were just growing. Becoming more confident. I was proud of you." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Tyler, I supported it. I encouraged you to take the job. I told you how good you looked. I bought you that bracelet for Valentine's Day because I thought we were happy." "We were happy. We are happy. This thing with Jason, it doesn't mean anything." "Don't." The word came out sharp enough that she stopped mid-sentence. "Don't insult me by saying it didn't mean anything. You risked our entire marriage for it. You lied to me every single day for months. You looked me in the eye and kissed me and told me you loved me while you were planning when you'd see him next. I do love you." "No, you don't. Because people who love each other don't do this." She was shaking her head, hands reaching toward me. "That's not true. People make mistakes. People screw up. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I filed for divorce yesterday." The words hit her like a physical blow. She actually stumbled backward, her hand going to her mouth. "What?" "Nicole Brennan is my attorney. You'll be served at work tomorrow afternoon." "No." Her voice was barely a whisper. "No, Tyler, please. You can't. We can fix this. It's done, Amanda." "It's not done. It's not done until you say it's done." She was shouting now, her voice cracked. "The house will be sold and we'll split the proceeds. You keep your car, I keep mine." "I don't care about the house," she was screaming now, her voice echoing across the parking lot. I don't care about any of it. I just want you. I want us. There is no us anymore. Please. She grabbed my arm, her fingers digging in desperately. Please, Tyler. I'm begging you. Don't do this. We can go to therapy. We can work through this. People survive affairs. People come back from this. We can too. Just give me a chance. I gently removed her hand from my arm. You had your chance. You had thousands of chances. Every morning you woke up next to me. Every night you came home to me. Every moment you could have chosen our marriage. You chose him instead. I choose you now. I'm choosing you right now. It's too late. I turned and walked back toward the hotel entrance. Behind me, I heard her collapse, literally collapse, onto the pavement, her sobs turning into wails. The night manager was standing just inside the doors, his expression carefully neutral but his eyes concerned. Do you need us to call someone, sir? For her? I glanced back through the glass. Amanda was on her knees in the parking lot, her whole body convulsing with sobs. No, I said quietly. She'll leave when she's ready. I went back to my room, packed my few belongings, and checked out. The night manager didn't charge me for the early departure. Amanda's car was still in the parking lot when I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I could see her sitting on the curb, her face in her hands. I didn't look back again. I drove to the office on autopilot, my hands steady on the wheel even though my mind felt like static. The sun was just breaking over the superstitions, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that seemed obscene given what had just happened. Amanda was probably still in that parking lot. Or maybe she'd called Jason. Maybe he was on his way to comfort her right now. I didn't care. The construction site in Chandler needed my attention. We were pouring foundation today, and the concrete trucks would arrive at 7. Work had always been my anchor, the one thing that made sense when everything else went sideways. I pulled into the job site at 6:40, parked next to the trailer, and sat there for a moment with the engine ticking down. My phone buzzed. Amanda. I deleted the message without reading it. Then another. And another. I turned the phone off completely and shoved it in the glove compartment. The day passed in a blur of concrete and rebar and shouted instructions over equipment noise. My site supervisor, Kevin, kept giving me sideways looks but didn't ask questions. I stayed until after 6, long after the crews had packed up, checking measurements that didn't need checking and reviewing schedules I'd already memorized. When I finally got back to my truck, I sat in the cab and stared at the darkening sky. I couldn't go back to the hotel. Amanda knew where I was. I couldn't go home. The house wasn't mine anymore, not really. It was just a building full of lies. I turned my phone back on. 47 missed calls, 32 text messages, 3 voicemails. I deleted everything without looking and called Derek. Hey, he answered on the second ring. I was starting to worry. I need a favor. Name it. Can I crash at your place for a few days, just until I figure out where I'm going? Derek didn't hesitate. Yeah, of course. You know where I keep the spare key. I'm working surveillance tonight. Won't be back until tomorrow afternoon, but make yourself at home. Thanks. Tyler? His voice shifted, became more careful. You okay? No, I said. But I will be. Derek's apartment was in Tempe, ironically only a few miles from Jason's condo. It was a basic one-bedroom with minimal furniture and the lived-in chaos of a bachelor who worked too much. I found the spare key under the mat, let myself in, and stood in the middle of the living room feeling completely untethered. My phone rang. Nicole Brennan. Mr. Bennett, she said when I answered. I wanted to give you a heads up. The process server attempted delivery at your wife's workplace this afternoon at 3:15. My stomach tightened. Attempted? She wasn't there. According to the receptionist, Amanda called in sick this morning and hasn't been in the office all day. Of course she had. She was probably driving around Phoenix looking for me, or sitting at home waiting, or... We'll try again tomorrow, Nicole continued. But I wanted you to be aware. Also, I need you to come by my office Thursday morning to sign some additional documents. Does 9 o'clock work? Yeah, that's fine. And Mr. Bennett? I know this is difficult, but you need to maintain radio silence with your wife. Don't answer calls, don't respond to texts, don't engage. Anything you say can complicate the proceedings. I understand. After she hung up, I ordered Chinese delivery and ate it sitting on Derek's couch, watching a basketball game I didn't care about. My phone kept buzzing with incoming messages. I stopped checking after the first dozen. Around 11, I finally looked. Most were from Amanda, long paragraphs of apologies and explanations and promises. A few were from numbers I didn't recognize, probably her friends or family trying to mediate. And one sent at 10:47 p.m. that made my blood run cold. It was from Jason Reeves. I stared at the number. I'd seen it often enough in those screenshots from Amanda's phone. The message was short. We need to talk. Man to man. Call me. I blocked the number and turned the phone face down. Wednesday crawled by. I went to work, buried myself in schedules and inspections, and ignored the constant vibration of my phone. The process server tried Amanda's office again at 2 p.m. This time she was there. Nicole called me at 2:47. It's done, she said. She's been served. I was standing in the site trailer looking at blueprints I wasn't really seeing. How did she react? The server said she went pale, asked to be excused, and left the building. That's all I know. Okay. Mr. Bennett, I need to prepare you for what comes next. She has 30 days to respond. Most likely her attorney will reach out to discuss settlement terms. This could get contentious, especially regarding the house. I contributed $70,000 to the down payment from my inheritance. I remember. We'll need documentation proving those funds were kept separate and not commingled with marital assets. Bank statements, wire transfer records, anything showing a clear paper trail. I have all of that. My grandfather's estate attorney advised me to keep it separate when we bought the house. Good. That's very good. Bring everything Thursday. That night, lying on Derek's couch in the dark, I finally let myself think about what I'd actually done. 6 years of marriage ended with legal papers delivered by a stranger in Amanda's office lobby, in front of her coworkers, in front of Jason. I waited for the guilt to hit, for some sense of regret or second thoughts. It never came. Thursday morning, I met with Nicole at 9 sharp. Her office was in a glass tower in downtown Phoenix, all clean lines and expensive furniture. She had my documents spread across her conference table: the divorce petition, financial disclosures, property settlement proposals. Your wife retained counsel yesterday afternoon, Nicole said, sliding a business card across the table. Gregory Walsh. He's competent but not particularly aggressive. That's good for us. I looked at the card without touching it. What does that mean? It means he'll advise her to settle rather than fight. The evidence is overwhelming. Documented infidelity, your separate property claim on the house down payment, no children to complicate custody. She doesn't have much leverage. So what happens now? Walsh will review our proposed settlement and likely counter. We're asking for the house, given your down payment contribution and her adultery. We're willing to give her half the equity minus your $70,000, which is more than fair. She keeps her car, her retirement account, her personal belongings. You keep your truck, your accounts, your inheritance. Clean split, no alimony on either side. And if she doesn't agree? Nicole's expression didn't change. Then we go to court and air everything publicly. The text messages, the surveillance photos, the timeline of her affair. We subpoena Jason Reeves to testify about the nature of their relationship. We make it very uncomfortable for everyone involved. She'll settle, I said. Most likely. But Mr. Bennett, I need to ask, has she tried to contact you? Constantly. And you haven't responded? Not once. Good. Keep it that way. The moment you engage, you give her an opening to claim you're willing to reconcile, that you're not serious about the divorce. Don't give her that ammunition. I signed the document she put in front of me, initialed where she indicated, and wrote a check for her retainer. The whole process took 40 minutes. When I got back to my truck, my phone showed 6 new voicemails. I deleted them all and drove to the Chandler site, where at least the problems had solutions and the measurements didn't lie. Derek came home that afternoon around 3. I was sitting on his couch, staring at my laptop without really seeing it, when he walked in carrying groceries. "You look like hell," he said. "Thanks." He put the bags on the kitchen counter and grabbed 2 beers from the fridge, tossed me one. "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." "Fair enough." He sat down in the armchair across from me. "But I'm going to say this once, and then I'll shut up. You did the right thing. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you did." I took a long drink of beer and didn't answer. "I've seen a lot of these situations," Derek continued. "In my line of work, you see the worst of people. And the thing is, they almost never stop. Amanda didn't slip up once. She had a whole system, the fake yoga contact, the regular schedule, bringing him to your house. That's not a mistake. That's a choice she made over and over." "I know. So don't let her rewrite history. Don't let her make you feel like you're the bad guy for walking away." I nodded, still not trusting my voice. Derek stood up. "I'm going to make some dinner. You're staying here as long as you need to, but tomorrow we're going to start looking for you a real place. You can't live on my couch forever." "Appreciate it." That night, my phone rang at 11:30. Amanda's mother. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to the message against my better judgment. "Tyler, this is Patricia. Please call me back. Amanda is devastated. She made a terrible mistake, but she loves you. Can't you at least talk to her? Work this out? 6 years of marriage has to mean something." I deleted the message and blocked her number too. 6 years did mean something. It meant I'd wasted 6 years on someone who'd looked me in the eye every single day while lying through her teeth. The divorce took 4 months to finalize. Amanda's attorney tried to fight the property settlement, arguing that my down payment had been a gift to the marriage, but the paper trail was ironclad. My grandfather's estate attorney had made sure of that. In the end, she settled for exactly what Nicole had proposed: half the equity minus my $70,000, her car, her retirement account. Clean break. No alimony. No lingering financial ties. I never spoke to her again after that morning in the hotel parking lot. The house sold in 3 weeks. Some tech couple from California paid $20,000 over asking. I signed the papers at a title company in Scottsdale at 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Amanda signed at 4 p.m. the same day, different room, different notary. Nicole made sure we never crossed paths. I used my half of the proceeds and the insurance money to buy a smaller place in Tempe, a 2-bedroom townhouse with a view of nothing in particular. It was mine, though. Just mine. No ghosts, no memories, no lies soaked into the walls. Work kept me sane. The Chandler project finished on schedule, and my boss promoted me to senior project manager with a $15,000 raise. I threw myself into a new development in Gilbert, working 12-hour days because empty evenings in the townhouse felt too quiet. Derek checked in regularly, dragging me out for beers or basketball games when he thought I was isolating too much. He never said, "I told you so," never made me feel pathetic for not seeing it sooner. Just showed up and was present, which was worth more than he probably knew. I heard through mutual friends that Amanda and Jason lasted about 6 weeks after the divorce was filed. Turns out the thrill of an affair doesn't translate well to actual relationship pressure. She moved back to Tucson to live with her parents. He got transferred to the company's Denver office. I didn't ask for details and didn't want them. About 8 months after everything ended, I was having dinner at a sports bar in Tempe when a woman at the next table dropped her phone. I picked it up and handed it back. She smiled, thanked me, and we started talking. Her name was Rachel. She was a nurse at Scottsdale General, recently divorced herself, wary but willing to try again. We took it slow, painfully slow. I told her everything on our third date, the whole story, start to finish. I watched her face carefully, waiting for judgment or pity or the realization that I was damaged goods. Instead, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm sorry that happened to you," she said, "but I'm glad you didn't stay." We've been together a year now. She has her own place and I have mine, and neither of us is in a rush to change that. We're building something honest, something where trust isn't assumed but earned daily through small, consistent choices. It's not the fairy tale I thought I had with Amanda. It's better. It's real. I still think about those 6 years sometimes, usually late at night when sleep won't come. I think about all the signs I missed, all the times I chose to believe instead of question. I think about who I was then, so confident in my marriage, so certain that love and commitment were enough. But here's what I learned. Love isn't enough. Trust isn't enough. You can do everything right, be supportive, be present, be faithful, and still end up with someone who lies to your face while planning their next betrayal. Some people are just broken in ways you can't fix, no matter how hard you try. And that's not on you. That's on them. The inheritance, the $50,000 from my grandfather, sits in an investment account, growing steadily. I haven't touched it. Probably never will. It's insurance against ever being that vulnerable again, that dependent on another person's honesty. My grandfather spent 47 years married to my grandmother, faithful until the day she died. I used to think I'd have that too. Now I know better. Now I know that kind of loyalty is rare, and you can't create it through wishful thinking or willful blindness. You can only recognize it when you find it, protect it when you have it, and walk away when it's gone. Amanda tried to contact me one last time, about a year after the divorce was final. A letter forwarded through Nicole's office. I almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity won. It was 3 pages of apologies and explanations. She'd been depressed. She'd felt invisible. She'd made terrible choices. She'd been in therapy. She'd learned so much about herself. She hoped I was happy. She hoped I'd forgiven her. She hoped we could eventually be friends. I read it once, folded it carefully, and put it through Derek's shredder. Forgiveness isn't something you owe someone who destroys your trust. It's not a gift they deserve just because time has passed and they've done some self-reflection. Forgiveness is for you, not them, and I didn't need it. I wasn't carrying anger anymore. I wasn't carrying anything related to Amanda at all. I'd simply moved on. That's the thing they don't tell you about betrayal. It doesn't destroy you unless you let it. It changes you, absolutely. Makes you more careful, more guarded, more aware that people are capable of extraordinary deception. But it also clarifies what matters. Strips away the illusions. Forces you to rebuild yourself on something more solid than blind faith. I'm not the same man I was that Tuesday morning when I saw those text messages. I'm harder in some ways, softer in others. I don't trust easily, but when I do, it means something. I don't make promises lightly, but I keep the ones I make. I don't waste time on people who show me through their actions that their words are meaningless. And I sleep fine at night, alone in my townhouse or next to Rachel in hers, knowing that whatever else I am, I'm not a fool anymore. The inheritance my grandfather left me wasn't just money. It was a lesson I didn't know I needed. That self-respect is worth more than any relationship, that walking away takes more strength than staying, and that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is refuse to accept less than you deserve. I deserved honesty. I deserved loyalty. I deserved someone who valued our marriage enough to protect it. Amanda wasn't that person. But somewhere out there, maybe Rachel is. Or maybe she isn't, and I'll have to walk away again. Either way, I'll survive. I'll rebuild. I'll keep moving forward. Because that's what you do when someone breaks your trust. You don't break yourself trying to fix them. You gather up the pieces of your own life, you learn the lesson, and you build something better from what remains. And you never, ever look back.